Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. This is our second episode. Hopefully, it's a better cut than the first one that we made. I recognize there were some audio issues in that first one. But hey, we're back. And if you enjoyed that, or if you haven't seen it and this is your first time stopping by, we hope you like it. And if you do, be sure to hit the like, hit the subscribe. Really helps the channel out. Now, today we're going to be talking about some mom spoilers and the mom hype that sort of gripped this whole magic community. But before we get into it, and before we get into our topics, let's introduce ourselves first. So, I'll start, and my name is Will. I do a lot of the deck techs on the channel. I do a bunch of the narrations for the channel, and I identify as Mono Black, Demir, and Esper. Handing it over to you guys. TY?
In order.
Yeah. TY, you wanna hit that?
Oh, is it me?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, I'm Ty. Green, Golgari, Timur. Tuning in all the way from Alabama.
What up?
I'm on the gameplay shows, and I share a lot of the brewing ideas and the philosophy ideas with Will J. He's my metaphorical brother, and Bob is my literal brother.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, I'm Bob. I'm the Mono White Boros Mardu guy. I've showed up on the gameplay videos. I've helped conceptualize some of the other. If it's Mono White, it was probably me.
He's
Perfect.
our resident Vorthos and resident level 0 judge.
I love it. The stakes have never been lower.
Never
right.
been lower.
So let's get into it. This March of the Machines type of thing. So we'll go over today some of our most hyped cards. It's a huge set, quite unwieldy if you'd ask me. But
a high word count.
A high word count. It's an
It's a
essay.
Microsoft Word sense of things.
I know. We'll go over our top 3 cards, or top 2, depending on the time. Before we get into the cards, I want to ask you guys some early impressions of the set. What are your thoughts?
I am hyped. I do like the idea of a new card type, and just going through the pairings of the legends is a builder's dream. Like, you see all these new interactions, you see cards who debatably should have or should not have been matched together, but all hell will just break loose in the coming month.
Right. Actually, wait, you go ahead, Bob.
Yeah. For me, as the resident Vorthos, the characters that were brought to life in the specific legends and like their pairings, which are the unexpected type of pairings that you wouldn't think these people would team up, but they're together and somehow they work? Question mark. I don't know if they actually do. Then mechanics wise, it feels very slow, I guess, because there's a lot of investment in, since
Yeah.
this is a very big set, so they really had to, I suppose, tap all the colors as much as they could, and
It feels pro jank in a way.
It does
Yeah,
All
feel
these
pro
high
Jank.
costs, double costs. It's for those late game plays.
Big splashy ones.
Yeah.
Actually, so for me, in the early part of the spoilers, I think I was hyped. Now I'm just getting too overwhelmed. It is the boomer in me coming out, You young
Old
kids.
heads.
Yeah, you young
Deep
kids
old
with your
heads.
keywords and whatnot. Nah, I mean, we've been playing Magic for a while. And I think this is one of the more, if not the most complicated set. Because I can barely remember sometimes what each card does, because they have a front side and then they have a back side, and both sides have a lot of text. Again, it's just really hard to sort of just keep that in that Rolodex. There's another boomer term. What's a Rolodex?
It's not even in our generation.
yeah, man, what the hell?
But you just have an index of what cards you can run, cards do, and now it's just it's so unwieldy. and the names because I guess the pairings are so unexpected. It's like it's hard to keep track of. Like who is this guy again? With who again? Like you know them individually, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Like as more of the pairings started coming out, I was like, oh man,
This is a jam-packed set. I mean, like I
super.
feel like even just the pairings alone could have carried like the hype of the
Yeah,
in a normal set of
yeah,
right in a normal like rollout of products like on like an MCU timeline.
yeah.
You could have like even just the pairings would have carried across this set.
I see what you mean
It
because
would have, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say also that like I think they patterned it a bit too much to the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic, because this is their end game
yeah,
set. I believe that's their parallel to it. So this is why they put the importance of the pair ups importance onto the battles,
right,
and as well as the transformed characters. And I
exactly.
was gonna call out as well that the transformation type was like the deans in Strixhaven.
Ooh,
You wouldn't happen to remember any of them, right?
right. These
Because they're both wall of texts on both sides. So maybe this is one of their I suppose difficulties in complexity
yeah,
that they were unable to translate it as well.
for sure.
That's why for some of them they're not as hype as you would expect, but it's interesting to see that they're able to do the double faced cards again.
Yeah, I mean, double face cards are definitely cool, but they kind of ran into me, like at least for me, into the Transformers
Mm-hmm.
lane. It's so hard to remember what Transformers do. Cause it's
But
yeah,
sets with dual sides are rare to reprint, right? So
oh yeah,
Yeah, they're harder to reprint,
these cards
also
might
because
hold
of
value.
the
Well, whatever's good
production.
might hold value pretty well long term.
whatever is yeah. Because I guess they wouldn't just do that in a random Masters unless the Masters was all like double faced or something.
Masters double face next secret layer drop.
Oh God.
That's so
Oh
true.
God.
Bad
Yeah,
joke, but that's probably
that
happening.
is probably
Give my
happening. 2024.
give my give my paycheck a break.
Speaking of Dean, sorry, just to sneak this in. The only Dean I remember is Dean Valentine. Because he looks like Dean Craig from Community. Dean,
Ding ding
Dean,
ding.
Dean. The- I, he looks like him. But yeah, he's Golgari. I don't know what his backside does. Yeah, I don't know. But him in the front, I don't even know what he does. I just know his art.
Just know
And he's
the
the D.
And he's the
he's
dean. He's the real dean. All right. So yeah, I guess a few mixed reactions from us. Sorry, just to piggyback on one more thing that you said, Ty. The pairings could have carried a set. I agree.
Yeah.
Even if they do that, like it didn't have to be like everybody was paired up. Like even if they just do that, like as a one-off in occasional sets. Just like the pairings are cool. Like let's say we go back to
Yeah.
Ravnica or something, or we go back to Eldraine, which we will during the year.
We're gonna sound like old heads again. But like when we started, the
Go
set was
ahead.
Invasion, and it was titled around like the invasion of Dominaria. And now it's insane that the invasion of Dominaria is now just one card.
Oh yeah, it's true. That was a set.
yeah, that
Which
was a
That was a
set.
set. That was 300 cards back in the day.
that's
Back in
true.
my
Back in my day. Actually, sorry, I know we'll get to our cards in a bit, but maybe we could spend a bit more time on here. How do you guys think about the lore aspect of this? I know Bob, lore is a big deal for you, so I'm curious.
Um, let's see, because story wise, it felt rushed.
Hmm.
Like a lot there, because there's a lot happening for the scope of it, and you have to fit it into 300 something cards.
Mm-hmm.
So card wise, it's very difficult to capture the scope,
Mm.
and especially this is technically speaking a multi-setting story
Mm-hmm.
that you don't feel the stakes as much, even though so much has already happened. And as of recording, they won't release the aftermath until May. So we won't know the full ramifications of everything that's happened in the story until then.
Right. I share the sentiment on it being rushed. Because we just got the Planeswalkers completed in the previous set. Right? So we just lost
Yeah,
Jace.
I was still mourning a Johnny, and he's back.
Yeah. On the negate art. Like, he is literally
Of all
back.
things, of all things, it has to be Negate, though, is the one that makes him appear not
Yeah.
Phyrexian anymore. And it kind of falls flat because of that, because we built up the Phyrexian Praetors to be unstoppable effectively.
Yeah.
Like they were very big, they're the very bad evil guy, very big bad evil guy. And then in the span of one set,
Yeah.
they're just snapped away.
Off
So
with
it
their
kind of
head.
doesn't feel as
Yeah,
rewarding, I would say.
Yeah.
we were missing an Empire Strikes Back episode somewhere here.
Yeah. It seemed like it went into part one and then part three.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, where's the.
Well,
Yeah.
in the intention was Phyrexia all will be one, is the Empire Strikes Back moment
Oh.
because of by
Ah,
completing the
right.
Planeswalkers. But they
Oh,
undid all of
right.
that in the span of one set. So
Yeah. I
it
guess.
doesn't.
To,
We could have marinated more in the.
yeah. In how hard things were. Like, yeah, Johnny's gone. Jace is gone. Vraska is on a Phyrexian as well. So it's just like
Mhm.
we could have marinated in that, but instead they're just like they're cured. So it feels
They're
very low
cured. They gotta
stakes.
fight through it. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, not only that, they like literally defeated the Phyrexians. Like Elish Norn, like Karn had her head,
Oh yeah, that
Yep.
art. Yeah.
that art.
Yep.
But like like, oh, okay, game over. He went for the head.
And because as the Vorthos, I have to point out because Karn was a pacifist.
Oh, you're
Oh.
right. I forgot that.
if you remember, if you remember from the original Tempest
Yeah,
arc of pacifism, it's Karn.
it's Karn.
And then this is the one and only time. Well, I think not really one and only, but like it's the one of the few times he was willing to get his hands dirty to do. He chose violence for once.
He chose violence. Wow.
like the, like the emu, Emmanuel.
Hmm.
All right. So I guess those are some good early impressions. Good commentary, I guess. Hopefully from the three of us. If you guys like it, make sure to also send your reacts in the comments. Or maybe it's just like
Good
you
luck.
boomer.
Good
Yeah.
luck with the editing.
Yeah. These boomers have no idea what. We need more mechanics.
These old heads.
Yeah. All right. But now let's move on to our personal hype list. So again, this isn't about power level. This isn't about what will make it into CEDH or what will make a splash in, I don't know, modern standard. It's not about that. It's about given our personal play style, our personal preference when it comes to play style, where it's a little more janky, a little more casual, low to mid, maybe borderline high. What cards are you guys most hyped for? Based off of your own personal preference. And again, let's go in turn order. So, T.Y., you want to kick us off?
All right. So yeah, I know what you mean. Like our power level in the group is somewhere around. We try to close games around turn 10, and we do love ourselves some good value. I'm my hype is gonna start at the common slot. We picked three. The assignment was three cards, so I got a common, an uncommon, and a rare.
Okay.
And my common is gonna be the Beamtown Beatstick. For one in a red, it's an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has menace. And then whenever that deals combat damage to a player or a battle, create a treasure token, and its equip cost is two generic. So this is great. This is a power creep. I feel like if this was printed uh 3-4 years ago, this would have been in an uncommon slot, I think.
Mm.
But I guess they balanced it out by making it a colored equipment. So, but it's in the color that needs it. It's a non-green who's gonna need the ramp. And I used to split the difference with this card. I used to run either the Gold Vein Pick from Kaldheim,
Yep.
which gives the plus. It's like the poor man's
Sort
sort
of
of
the
the
anime.
anime.
It's a short.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sort of the anime, right? And then but if I was running red, I would use a slot for Sticky Fingers. I freaking love Sticky Fingers from New Capena. It's a one in a red, and it's in an aura, so it'll fall off. But
Right.
it gives you the menace, gives you the hit, and you get a treasure. And at least if it falls off, I think you get to draw a
You get to
card.
draw a card.
It still replaces itself at least. And I
Ah.
love Sticky Fingers, so I'm glad that it's now on an equipment. So it keep you ramping, combat-based ramp still. So yeah, that's card number one for me, the Beamtown Beat Stick.
I like it. It's really good. It's a lot of sneaky good value, and since it comes down at one, it feels like it'll do enough to justify itself. Because maybe by turn 6 or something, it's really hard to get in sometimes. But at one drop, you get your commander out on 2 or 3. You'll be able to get in a ramp once or twice. The menace is actually a lot more relevant than you'd think, because you'll play one
And it
creature.
messes up blocker math.
It does. A lot harder to block. Okay.
I like this card too. The menace gives the important evasion. Then I think the only caveat is that the two equip 2.
Mm.
It's equipped for 2 generic, so it's slightly more slower in terms of
A
tempo.
little slower, yeah. You might
Yeah.
you might get it on by turn 3 or something. If
Mhm.
but I think they learned from Skull Clamp.
That's true.
Which
This
is
this would have
good.
been really strong at equipped 1.
Yeah.
It would have been too strong.
It is
It would
really
have
a
been
rare
good.
slot. Yeah, it would have been a rare slot.
Yeah, because
So it'll be like a prying blade from Ixalan.
Yeah, it would have been straight up from
Or
the anime.
anime is equipped too. Yeah, actually,
it's a good sweet spot. The equip 2 is a
2.
good sweet spot. That
Yeah.
it's slow enough that it's not too oppressive, I would say, but as
Yeah.
well as it still gives you good enough value. Then yeah, I like it. Can't wait
Yeah.
to run it in whatever deck I run, both in limited and in
Exactly.
commander.
Yeah, yeah. How does this compare? Like, speaking of equipped 2, a card I sometimes run is Dowsing Dagger, because it flips into the Gilded
Yeah,
Lotus.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
I
love
think it
Dowsing
costs
Dagger.
2. You have to give away 2 plants, but you have to equip 2, and then you flip it into a land that produces 3.
Yeah.
Great mana acceleration boost, but sometimes again, it feels a bit slow, because to play it and then to equip it, then you had to have a creature, probably an evasive one.
It's par for the course. It's two-piece Strand Dynamo.
2-piece Strand Dynamo, I see
Which is
what you mean.
perfect for our level.
Yeah. Strand Dynamo is still seeing play. All right.
Mhm.
All right. Good first pick at the common slot. How about you,
Yeah.
Bob? What's your first card for us?
Okay, so as soon as I saw it, I knew I had to pick him.
Okay.
So I had to go with my representative of the color pie, my Boros Lorehold son, I guess, Pintorius the Lore Master.
You have child?
Apparently, well, he's younger technically, and so yeah, Pintorius Lore Master. He's rare, so he's 3 in Boros for a 3/5 legendary elephant cleric with vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, exile target non-creature, non-land card from your graveyard, then create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. Then he has an activated ability. For 1 red-white, tap him. Sacrifice a spirit. Choose target card exiled with Quintorius. You may cast that card this turn without paying its mana cost. If this spell would be put into a graveyard, put it on the bottom of its owner's library instead. So yeah.
Whew.
So it's a laundry list of things. So first of all, you exile a non-creature, non-land. So what could that be? Artifacts, enchantments,
Ah.
battles, those kind of things that have been hit the
Okay.
graveyard, or you milled them away with
Okay.
certain self mills. And then you create a token. So you have it's a token maker as well. Then you can pay off that token by sacrificing it to his activated ability, when you're able to recur that artifact, that enchantment, that instant, that sorcery, that battle. You get to play it again, then when it resolves, goes to the bottom of your library. So it's a soft type of recursion.
Can you cast this at instant speed? Like it gives
From-
like let's say artifact. Let's say you have a portal to Phyrexia or something in the graveyard. Can you flash that in with this ability? Am I understanding it right?
I think so. As of now, there's no ruling yet, so
Yeah,
I can't say.
Because you cast it
But I
with
would
this
think so.
ability, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like it.
A
Huh.
red white Boros Reanimator. Sneak attack vibes.
Okay. Okay, wow,
With,
yeah.
And it has a tap gate on it, right? It has
A tap
it
gate.
has multiple gates on it so that it can't be abused.
Right. But it can't reanimate creatures. So it's not like
Yeah,
your
it cannot.
typical reanimator.
Oh,
So you
shit.
can't just get like a worm coil. You know what I mean? There's so many nuances in these cards. So you can't get a creature, you can't
So
get a
I
land.
non-creature, non-land. So
So is this gonna be a Super Friends Boros?
it can be planeswalkers. It can be. I was thinking sagas as well. Or use some sagas.
Right.
Flip the transforming ones. Then yeah, also the artifacts. Like maybe that's a bit too on the spicy end if we go with the portal to Phyrexia.
Right.
But
Yeah.
maybe.
I totally misread this card. I thought you would exile like an instant or sorcery. Like that was how I interpreted it. Now that I read the
Oh,
card, it actually explains the card. My bad. I didn't read it hard
Reading
enough.
the card explains the card.
But like in my
Yeah.
head, I thought it
Actually
said
does.
instant or sorcery. So I was thinking like I don't know what I'll get. A swords maybe, a plowshare. But I didn't realize you could get like enchantments, artifacts. That makes it a lot spicier. A lot more
Even
interesting.
vehicles.
A Parhelion.
Calling back to my smuggler's copter.
A Smuggler's
Or a
Cup.
Parhelion.
Right. Just for 3 mana.
If that spell will be put into a graveyard. Oh, and it sticks the landing too, right? It's not sneak attack. It sticks the
Yeah.
landing.
No, but it
And
is
it
in that
has a-
it's flash. At least from how I'm reading it. You cast it
Oh.
as soon as you activate this ability, you have to cast it. I think it's
Yeah,
the Djinn of
Get it
like
out.
3 wishes or something. There's that blue one that lets you cast off the top of your library. And that also ignores timing restrictions.
This
So
guy's
far
wrong.
from what I say, yeah, it can ignore the timing restrictions.
Wow.
But we'll see the official ruling. It might be errated or not, but from what I understand so far, it could ignore the timing restrictions
Okay.
based on the resolution of the ability.
The way it looks, no? I
Yeah.
think so.
Okay, I'm impressed. Yeah, this card is better than I thought it would be. I read it and I was like, I don't know, Spellslinger Boros.
This is like pre-Planeswalker. Like he's like pre-Spark. Like his Spark is like,
He is pre-Spark, yeah. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Alright, I'll go to my first card. And unlike UTY, I just went straight for the spicy. I went for a mythic. And the mythic that I went for is one of the Praetors, Jin Gitaxias. So here is another wall of text. Bear with me. It's a 5 mana value. Yeah, 5 mana value, 5/5 Phyrexian Praetor. 3 in blue.
Yeah.
Ward 2. Kind of hard to kill. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell with mana value 3 or greater, draw a card. that alone is already pretty good. And if it had ended there, I'd still be like, this card's pretty good. But
It's
wait,
pretty good. But
that alone, I was like, it protects itself with Ward 2. It draws cards potentially consistently. With X spells, X draw spells. Like it's good enough. But then for 3 and a blue, you can exile it and return it transformed. Um, Only as a sorcery and only if you have 7 or more cards, right?
in hand.
In hand, yeah. So if you have 7 cards in hand, 3 blue, transform it. What happens when
Pretty
it's
hard.
transformed? It turns into a saga, and the first chapter is draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand. So if you needed to have 7, you're probably drawing another 7. And then you'll have no more maximum hand size for the rest of the game. For as long as you control this saga. Meaning
The
if it
great
flips back,
synthesis.
if it flips back, you'll lose that no maximum hand size thing. The second chapter is return all non-Phyrexian creatures to their owner's hand. So it's kind of like a wipe, a cyclonic rift if you're playing a Phyrexian deck,
The blue wipe.
the blue wipe. And then the third chapter, remember, you still have no maximum hand size. You may cast any number of spells from your hand without paying their mana costs. Then you flip it back into Jin Gitaxias.
That's some crazy stuff.
That's crazy. And when I read it, I was like, this is insane. With okay, fine. The 7 cards in hand might be a bit of a restriction, although when you play non-creature, you kind of like cantrip it, which might be a way to help build up the 7.
And you're
But
gonna
even
be in blue.
you're in blue, and with that all will be one
And
set, you have proliferate effects now, packed onto good things like
my
counter
God.
spells and that like kind of pseudo brainstorm. I forget what it's called, experimental augury, if I'm not mistaken. Where you look at the top 3 and you can sort of manipulate your library. See, like these are just random good cards
This is pretty good.
with proliferate attached to it, so you can get to level the third chapter potentially the same turn you get to the second chapter, let's say, and then you cast your hand.
Nasty.
It's because it's
These
in
blue
blue.
mages. These blue mages drawing all their
It's-
cards, drawing all their shenanigans.
At least it's 2-step. There's this card in Baldur's Gate, I think it was the majestic synthesis. Let me look
Okay.
at it.
What's the vibe
Majestic Genesis. It was an 8 to cast sorcery. Reveal the top X cards for your library. X is the mana value of your commander, and then you put any number of permanent cards from that top X into play. And then that's what that ult is looking like in that saga, where there has not been a game where like Majestic Genesis is just such a high win share rate. Like if you cast
Yeah.
this on a commander with 6 and up,
Oh yeah.
I cast this in my this is nasty in my Galta deck, where you just look at your top 12 and get anything for free.
Get free permanents.
Get free permanents from the top 12 of your deck. So it's just like it's over.
Yeah. I mean,
So that's what it's looking like with your Jin Gitaxias getting to that 3. And if you're in blues, you're drawing a lot, and then if you're proliferating too,
yeah, exactly. And remember, the second chapter is like a cyclonic rift. So
Yes.
it's hard to get punished once you get to 2, because like, okay, you flip him, people are panicking. Let's kill him. Let's kill this Jin Gitaxias player. If you get to untap, you wipe, and it almost feels like you're
Yes.
gonna get a free third chapter, because you don't get the pressure. Obviously, they can like disenchant this, but as we've seen, it's pretty hard to disenchant a packed weapon. So it's hard enough to disenchant something, I guess.
it would be hard to disenchant a blue pair holding 13 cards in
That's
hand.
true.
That is very true.
He has 13
That is
cards
very
in hand.
true.
He has 13 cards in hand. He's gotta have one counter spell. A negate showing a Johnny getting cured, Yes, something.
Getting remade over.
Remade. So yeah. Oof.
Great synthesis.
That's a bomb.
Jin Gitaxias. That's good stuff.
Yeah, and then you
And
get
yeah,
it
it's
back.
reflective as well. It's very reflective of the Praetor's power. So they're very. I mean, it's a good way. It's a good reflection, I guess, of how powerful the Praetors are, as
But
well
shout out to
as.
the pairings. Shout out to the pairings. I feel like they are reverse Praetors. Like they're too good. Some of them are too good.
Mhm.
Speaking of, okay, let's move on to our next card. And I don't know if you have a pairing for us.
I
Do
do
you?
not have a
You
pairing
do
yet. I'm
not?
still in my
Okay.
uncommon slot.
Okay,
Um,
okay. Hit us.
so my second pick is the cameo of Whispered Hopes. It's 3 to cast, 2 generic and a green for a spirit, and it's a 1/1. Its first line of text is if one or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a permanent you control, that many +1 are placed instead, and then tap, add X of any color, any one color, and where X is cameo of Whispered Hope's power. So it smushed Marwin and it smushed Hardened Scales onto one
Hardened
card.
scales. Yeah.
And at the uncommon slot, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And it synergizes with its own box of text. That's crazy.
It does. You're right.
This, this was a rare card 5 years ago. Again, the old heads are coming out.
Yeah, hardened scales and man. I mean, at three, it's kind of a late mana dork, a mid to late game mana dork. But I guess in the right deck, this is for that burst mana, the unfair mana, no longer the let me get to my turn 5 quicker mana. It's the the unlimited mana mode.
Let me cast my nine mana value spell at turn 5.
Yeah, it's in
But
that
see, you're
range.
running this in a deck that runs +1/+1 counters. So each of your it doubles. It it gets high on its own supply.
Mm, that's
Mhm.
true.
It doubles the counters that it's gonna be placed on it. So this is gonna be huge. I run the Marath deck, so this is probably getting a slot in there because the redundancy of hardened scales is pretty good, and man,
Yeah,
and it gives mana.
or even like a very famous closer, which is like Avenger of Zendikar, in a casual pod. Like this
Oh
will
my
give
god,
each land +2/+2 instead of +1/+1.
Yeah, that's
man,
gonna be big.
the
He's gonna
OG
run out of
killer,
dice.
OG killer. Yeah.
OG killer, wrecking tables since 2012.
I also like this Kami because of the mana because it's a mana ability. So that's going into Pumba,
Mm,
going into Raga Traga. So
Raga
Raga
and
Draga.
Draga.
it comes up with it becomes 3 mana instantly if Raga Draga is on the field as well, and he can untap if he attacks. So the +1/+1 counters could be beneficial as well.
Adjacent, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, if you're running a counter deck, +1/+1 counter deck, this seems like one of these pinnacle cards, like one of these
Mm,
like stuff you that'll really hold the deck together.
yeah.
Yeah,
It'll
it's an important redundancy as well.
It's
yeah.
gonna be such an anchor in the limited scene too. Like this is gonna be with backup. This is gonna be with
Mm,
and then that other one, the incubate, backup and incubate are
you're
gonna
right.
be riding on this Cami as well.
Ooh, you're
Oh
So
right.
yeah,
yeah,
for
that's
sure.
my call for this one.
Good call. All right, Bob.
Hmm.
What do you have for us?
What you got?
All right. Since you spoke of the new mechanics, I will bring up the new card type then.
Oh.
So I present to you an invasion. So this invasion is to a fan favorite plane actually. It's the plane of conspiracy, so Fiora. So invasion of Fiora is a 4 black for a battle siege. So when it enters the battlefield, it enters with 4 defense counters. All right. So it comes down as a permanent.
I'm looking at a battle when I have to.
You have to
I'm,
turn your
I'm,
head sideways. Yeah.
I'm just listening now. Tell me, Bob. Paint me a
So
word
yeah, as it
picture.
enters, choose an opponent. They have to defend it, and then
Okay.
you and other opponent and other players can attack it. When it's
Okay.
defeated by removing all 4 defense counters, exile it, then cast it transform.
Mm-hmm.
So the important thing is when Invasion of Fiora enters the battlefield, choose one or both, destroy all legendary creatures, or destroy all non-legendary creatures.
That's good.
So it's a 6 to cast board wipe effectively that can either hit commanders or non-commanders, and then
You can stack it asymmetrically.
mhm.
At 6, it's good for us cheapskates.
Yep,
Yeah, because you know the
Like
price. Yeah, the price won't
the
won't
price
spike on
jump,
this.
the price jump,
mhm.
right? From Crux of Fate to
Mm.
Damnation is too
Is
darn high.
yeah.
It's
Once you get
way
to
too high.
once you get to CMC 4 below, yeah.
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 Toxic deluge.
Toxic Deluge is another one
Feel
of
that
those.
Uh-huh.
in your wallet. That's a deluge in your wallet.
Okay, so the important thing is it transforms.
Oh, great! It's
So
not
after
yet
you
done.
deal,
Okay.
It's
not
not
yet
even
done.
done.
No, I'm not. That's only the front half. So if you defeat this battle, you get Marchesa, Resolute Monarch,
Another fan favorite.
another fan favorite, the
Mm-hmm.
old Queen of Fiora. So she's a
The
3/6
OG
legendary
monarch.
human noble with
OG.
Menace and Death Touch. So whenever
She's taking
Marchesa,
down 2 people.
I know. Yo, she has no chill. She
She'll
literally.
take down 2.
she'll take down two because of the Menace and the
Who's
Death
blocking
Touch.
that?
So yeah, whenever she
2
attacks,
chumps.
remove all counters from up to one target permanent.
Ah.
And
Which is
then
getting. Yeah,
and
go
then
on.
the last ability at the beginning of your upkeep, if you haven't been dealt combat damage since your last turn, you draw a card and you lose a life. So it becomes a pseudo monarch effect, or Phyrexian Arena
Yeah.
type.
Fraction Arena with hoops.
Phyrexian Arena with hoops, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, what does she do when she hits? Does she have a combat trigger?
When she attacks, remove
Attacks.
attack.
It's
It's
an
an attack trigger.
trigger.
She doesn't even need to hit.
Remove
Okay.
all counters. So you get. We were talking about +1/+1 counter synergy. This takes care of all of it.
Right. She gets
Ishin,
you a new battle.
Ishin Dex.
Yep, she can transform a battle if she wants.
Yeah. Huh.
Ishin
Skills.
Dex, yeah, will love the
Ishin
double
Dex,
counter.
Human
Double
creature
attack trigger.
type.
Mm-hmm.
She kills
Relevant
walkers.
human creature type.
Menace, Death Touch to take down 2 chumps minimum. And drop
And-
kick.
And how big is she again? Sorry.
3/6.
Three
She's
six.
a 3/6.
Oh wow. That's hard
Six
to kill.
butt. Yeah,
6
that's
butt.
6 butt.
It's at a Kumbaj
bad.
Witch's range.
Way out.
Oh, and she's in black, so she avoids a lot of the terror type effects, the dark banishing type of effects, showing our age with those.
But what type of color combination would you run her with? Because I assume if you're in white, the front side, the white, like white has so many fantastic wipes. Are you running her in like Rakdos? I don't know, or Golgari?
I would put it in the Mardu
Okay.
Mardu type of deck.
Mardu, humans.
Mardu humans. Then let's see, will Mono Black be able to use it? Yes,
'Cause-
but
'cause,
there's
like,
a lot
will
more
you be-
efficient ways.
When you play this, at least as how you're imagining it, Bob, are you thinking like you are you relying on being able to flip the battle, or like with the wipe alone you're kind of good, or is it more like the wipe
I-
is just the upside and then you really wanted more chase? I don't know.
I feel like that's the general truth with these battles. You know, like the front face is all that you need, and then everything else is sauce. Everything else is
Great.
fries. So can you imagine the fries on this one?
And it's a
good
rare,
price.
so yeah, this is the rarefied type of sauce.
Yeah, like your bonus is a 3/6 menace death touch, who knocks out planeswalkers on attack trigger, and
Right.
and then there's so many more counters now in the game, so like there's gonna be incremental value,
Right.
then-
Right. Right.
and
Yeah.
she has a third line of text, like crazy.
Yeah, and I guess Mardu is the leading color combination for Legends Matters.
Yeah, that too, because of the
S-
recent legendary precon
Yeah, so
of
you could
Tejada, I think.
yeah, you could wipe out a token deck that is a bunch of
Hmm.
non-legendaries and keep your own. I guess that's good. I
You
mean, if
could
you need a total,
unleash your own. You could unleash your own Marit Lage. Remove the counters from your from your
You
land.
could.
you
You
could.
could.
Haha. Huh.
You could keep your age counters down. You could have like a cumulative upkeep matters deck.
Oh my god. Cumulative upkeep matters deck. Okay, sold.
And in your wipe slot,
Yeah.
this is responsible deck building is what
There's
this
also
is.
yeah. It forces people. Oh no.
Hmm.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay.
Because yeah, your now your wipe slot. Because us budget people who rely on Tomer math to make our decks, like yeah, this slot's in your mass removal slot, and then when it flips, your bonus is you'll get card advantage and post wipe. Plus that wipe, you can make asymmetric depending on the pattern of the board, legend, non-legend. I was
Yeah.
also gonna pick this card, Bob. That's why I have answers to the question ready. I'm like, I love this card. I love this card, dude.
Yeah. It would be so cool to
Interesting.
run. But yeah, like I would say I would agree that it's a if you take the front side, just for the front side, you're able
Just
to
the front
leverage it
side.
asymmetrically. You're good.
Right.
Then it's really a very big bonus if you're
Yeah.
able to flip it over.
You get fries and apple pie. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Cool. I will move on to my card now, and I'm gonna go for a colorify break for me, because I'm gonna go green,
Uh-oh.
and green is my least played color, even though it's the best commander color. I know, fine, it's my least played color. I only have one green deck, Kathril, and even barely green.
It's barely run.
Oh, it barely run as well. But I'm going with a Celestia partner commander here. Galta and
Ooh.
Mavren.
This is a color break for you.
Yeah,
What
color
are you
break
Wow,
for me.
all new side.
Yeah.
You've changed.
So when I saw this card, it actually made me want to try to run Celestia. So it's 3 green, white. So that is 7 mana value. For 7 mana, you get a 12/12 trample dinosaur vampire, Galta and Mavren, right? And whenever you attack, not necessarily with Galta and Mavren, you just have to attack with any dude. Attack with anyone. You can choose one. Create a tap and attacking XX green dinosaur creature token with trample, where X is the greatest power among other attacking creatures, right? Or create X11 white vampire tokens with lifelink, where X is the number of other attacking creatures. So it's cool flexibility. Go wide, go tall. Seems a lot easier to go wide. Um, but again, because you could hold Galta back. Although I don't know why you'd want to, but it's just because he has no haste. So that means when they hit the board, Galta and Narvin, you can swing with the rest of the board that you've built up until you got to 7 mana. Create more tokens, and the tokens sort of multiply themselves. The dinosaur doesn't really multiply itself, so that seems like the trickier build around. But I guess with like the green Praetor that came out in All Will Be One, which doubles power and toughness when you go to combat.
Oh yeah, the dominant.
Oh, the dominant.
The Dominus. Sorry,
Dominus.
not Praetor. Sorry, the Domini.
Yeah. The Domini.
So he doubles power toughness. You get a bunch of like, this is your excuse now to play your giant growth. I've always wanted to just get somebody, get him with that. Yeah. So I don't know. It seems like a really cool build around for me. I don't know what you guys think.
I can tell, like, for you to go out of black and to go full 180 into green white, yeah, and yeah, this is shout out to the artist Zeju Chen. Look at this Galta; it's so textured. It's popping out of the frame. Homeboy's house is on the dinosaur.
Who let this
He's a
vampire
work of-
on top of him?
He's a work at home kind of guy. This Maverick. He's a work at home vampire.
Work at home vampire.
And man, and the racing stripe Galta.
Racing
Damn,
stripe. Yeah. It's such a cool card when I saw
such a
this.
cool card.
It's one of the earlier spoiled ones, but it's like it's still interesting for me.
They kept him 12-12, and then with
Mm.
the vampires going wide, that's where they kept the flavor of the what did they call Bob, the Adanto, the
Yeah. Adanto.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Adanto,
That's what they're famous
the
for,
religion, the
attacking
religion
in.
of the vampires. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'll really build it, but seems really cool. I want to be able to go tall with this one. Just create dinosaurs, actually. I've played enough Edgar in my day that I'm okay with vampires. uh, but yeah. All right.
Yeah, creating a second big dinosaur
This
is
yeah.
like big deal, especially if you want to go with the Domini, who's doubling your attack
Yeah.
and power and toughness. So,
You're just wiping people out.
because this is really
Like I
big.
said, like I said, this guy could carry his own set. What's he doing at the rare slot?
Yeah.
Some-
This could have been in its own set. Some of these pair ups are cool enough.
I think so. I mean,
Anyway, Tiwa, let's get to your last card.
all right. My last card at the mythic slot. Was it a mythic? No, it's a rare too. What's going on, Wizards? It's pretty good.
It's a pretty
Like I
good
said,
set.
it's the invasion of Ikoria for me. It's an X and a double green for a battle siege with defense 6. When invasion of Ikoria enters the battlefield, search your library and or yard for a non-human creature with mana value X or less, and it goes onto the battlefield. If you search your library, shuffle. So front face, it's good. I mean, even if I didn't read the back, it slots in your tutor slot. It slots in your recursion slot. So it's very responsible deck building. It's a multi-role. But then when you flip it to the back, Xylortha, Apex of Ikoria, you have a legendary creature dinosaur 8/8 with reach. Okay, fine, reach. But its text is for each non-human creature you control, you may have that creature assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked. Yo!
Thorn Elemental.
Shout out to
And that's
Thorn
where,
Elemental.
old heads rejoice, man. Thorn Elemental used to be the bee's knees.
It used to be the bee's knees. I mean, sure it gets removed and whatever, but I mean,
Yeah, I mean, before, like now, it's like reprinted in uncommon, but before, it
that was
the
a
bee's-
rare.
It made no sense. It's one of the first rare cards where I was like,
I know what you mean. Same. It was like super trample. I was like, wait, so I just can't block it?
yeah, and it still smacks my
It
blockers.
still smacks me.
So that's what I think. That's it. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Thorn Elemental callback,
Yeah.
showing our age again, old heads. Yeah, because it's not keyworded yet. Whatever this Thorn ability is. And
Yeah,
this is
it's
the
not.
backside. This is the French fries that came with the burger. You already reanimated your best creature, and now you're giving it unblockable. Like, come on.
Yeah. It's a sorcery speed green sun. Am I getting this right? I'm butchering my green cards. The green sun zenith
okay.
with like where you could search.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
kind of is.
I don't even run that.
Yeah, because
Because
it's
kind of
pricey.
expensive.
It's
It's very
pricey.
pricey.
So I don't know if this will be pricey. Maybe. But it's sorcery speed,
Maybe.
and it's 2 CMC plus X, which might really bring
Yeah.
it down. But like the recursion is nice because especially if you're not running it in Golgari or you're not running it with maybe white. Let's say you're running Simic or you're running Gruul, red green. Recursion is a lot harder to come by. So being able
yeah.
to get back that bomb that someone just removed or countered, it could be big for you. And you're probably swinging with big dudes. So, the OG Thorn Elemental could have taken down this battle on his own. Like, if you were running
Hell
him.
yeah.
Right? Because you can't block it. I mean, the damage
Yeah.
always goes through.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Huh.
It's like better double strike. I don't know.
It's close to it. Close
I
to
don't
better
know.
double strike.
I don't know. I don't make the game. I just,
You're
guy
not,
on a-
Make the-
you're not a
I'm just
designer.
guy. I'm just a guy on a tiny podcast.
Yeah. And a
Shooting my shot.
a doctor by day and a tiny podcaster by night. I love it.
Just shooting my shot.
Applies to two of us.
Your thoughts, Bob, on the
Your-
invasion of Ikoria?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Though I also like to point out the non-human clause. So
Mm.
within a lot of the big green bombs are non-humans. So it's like
Yeah.
pick your poison.
Yeah. Yeah. They're beasts or elementals or something.
Beast, elementals, dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
What else big? I don't know. Phyrexian maybe if you want to shoot out Vorinclex for some reason.
And giving Uber trample to your folks is giving Uber trample to your board is just like the icing on top. And it's reach. I don't know, but when you're in mono green, I love reach.
Reach also messes up the math. I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you.
Yes, it does.
Because
Yes.
my favorite mechanic all time is flying. So when I go mono green, I don't have access to it. So
Mm.
reach is also one of those. Gotta appreciate.
All right, Bob. Hit us with
Your
your
card,
last
Bob.
card.
Okay, my last card is an uncommon. Okay. So this is a Surge of Salvation. I will go back to my color pie.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's it's a white instant for 1 white. You and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. Prevent all damage that black and or red sources would deal to creatures you control this turn. So it's a instant that gives you hexproof, which is important. So white has a lot of these kind of soft protection effects.
Mhm.
So this is a step down from the usual protection type of things like circle of protection, stuff like that, or those cantrips. Since hexproof does save a lot of your stuff, and then
Mm.
this is part of a cycle of color hosers. So there's other it's a cycle of other cards that kind of have rider text about the other colors. So
Yeah.
this one prevents red and black damage. So what does this prevent? This prevents Blasphemous Act
Mhm.
from
Oh.
affecting your board. This prevents Pestilence from affecting
Oh.
Oh
your board.
no.
The cards that he runs.
He
I feel
got
like he
me.
likes this card because he plays with us, Will.
He got me. No. My pestilence.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pestilence is in my
a lot of
starting
the-
99 too.
A lot of the red board wipes are damage based, so
Right.
this can prevent that.
Right.
That's
And you can
chain reaction.
you can block profitably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
It's a fog hiding. It's a fog hiding on this thing too. I like it.
Mhm. Yeah. What really caught my eye here was the art.
Shout out to Dominic Mayer.
It looks so
Dominic Mayer with the solid art, yeah.
good. It looks so good.
And the flavor text as well.
I was about to
Flavor
say
text.
the flavor text is also really good. So for those
It's
who
a
don't
flavor
know,
win.
yeah, why don't you
Oh
read out
my
the flavor
God,
text,
you're right.
Bob?
Because like the Milesian.
Alright.
Okay, go for it, Bob. It's your moment.
Yeah. it's your
No
moment.
Milesian had ever laid eyes on an angel. But when protective halo flooded the multiverse, they knew a divine blessing was at hand. Pretty
Like,
strong
the
stuff.
Milesian, they're from Theros.
Yep.
And
They're
Greek
from-
mythology classically doesn't have angels. Nerdgasm.
And Halo is a shout out to Capenna because
Yeah.
Shout
Oh
out to
my
Capenna, yeah.
that was the city built by angels and then later on usurped by demons.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that flavor bit. That's nice.
Yeah. So it was originally built by angels and they had protected themselves. I think, if I'm not mistaken here, from the Phyrexian invasion.
Yeah,
Um,
they were one of the first to repel Phyrexian, the old Phyrexians.
yeah,
That's
and
what
and
their
The
like
little
city is
gremlins
built on.
who didn't come in red and white yet.
yeah, we didn't come in red and white. This is
They didn't have their jerseys yet.
the low the low budget Phyrexian, the little giant version of Phyrexian.
The
Uh,
Phyrexian gremlins.
yeah. um, and yeah, like Halo is like their secret sauce or something.
Hmm.
Which Gayada could produce. That's why Gayada
Because
was so
she's
important.
part angel. She's one of the newer,
Yeah,
like the newest generation of angels who were like not. It's kind of weird. Kind of
Kind of
weird how she
weird.
shows up.
kind of weird.
She has
Yeah,
a she has a halo gland. that
yeah, I
produces-
know. It oozes, you know.
Yeah, is this a body fluid?
I don't, I
Let's not
don't,
go there.
I don't know what Halo. That's what's happening in Surge of Salvation. I just got this fluid all over me, man.
I make halo.
Okay. Surge of Salvation. Alright, we're running a bit short on time here. So I'll go jump straight into my card unless you had like last comments on Surge of Salvation.
No, it's good.
Alright, I am also going to my last card and I'm also returning to my color pie. So that was a very short-lived Gotham Mavrin sort of like affair. But here I am with my entanglement, as they would call it. And I'm going again with another Praetor, again with Mythic slot. And I just had to. I could have gone for like sexier, jankier picks, but I just wanted to give this a real shout out. We're going with Shieldred. Whew. Also 3 black, also 5 to cast, 4/5 menace. When Shieldred enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or planeswalker. So you can't just chump sacrifice. You got to sacrifice something with real mana value attached to it, right? That's decent. Not the best ETB. We've seen better ones. But at 4 in black, we can exile Shieldred, then return it transformed, and we can only activate this as a sorcery and only if an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. So 8 means around mid to late game, or maybe if you already wiped or something. But nonetheless, when she flips, choose up to 1 target creature or opponent for each opponent and destroy that creature. So you get essentially, it's a 3-for-1 when she flips. This time you get to choose. You don't just have to sacrifice it. Next chapter, each opponent discards 3 and mills 3. Discard 3 is ridiculous. Like it's a backbreaker, especially in colors that don't draw as well. And the last one is a Rise of the Dark Realms. Return all
Oh my
creatures
God.
in all graveyards to the battlefield under your control, and then flip Shieldred back.
Yo,
So-
these sagas have no chill.
No chill. And it's not that hard to get to the 3rd chapter. Again, just piggybacking on what I said about Jin Gataxias, the other color that got a lot of proliferate support in All Will Be One was black. With the Drown and Ichor and all these things. Like, these things are just randomly good cards that proliferate. You even had some of the OG proliferate cards from, I think, the new Phyrexia set. So, like, there are other ways to proliferate. Throne of Geth. Some of these things you would just run. And I don't know. I think this card is like crazy oppressive. It has the right amount of control that you like. I like the discard 3 mill 3 chapter a lot. It'll get you if you're not ready for it. And then the Rise of the Dark Realms, it sets it up, right? Because they've milled 3, they've discarded 3. Hopefully they discarded a bomb, something that maybe they hadn't played yet.
You have to build for her. I don't know. Is she in the command zone? Mono black. Can you mill in mono black? You can mill other people in mono black.
Not so
So
much.
it's probably
not
gonna
as
be a
effectively.
99.
Not as
Probably
effectively.
gonna be because it's pretty hard to get. It's pretty hard to
it-
get someone else in the threshold. You could
Into
give
it.
yourself threshold, but like
Very easily, yeah. You get yourself into
Yeah.
threshold.
I feel like
You see-
mill would be the main way to get other people into threshold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of black mill, like mono black mill support outside of like the artifacts.
Outside
But-
of the artifacts, right?
But a lot of the Haymaker mill cards are in Dimir or blue.
Mm.
Um,
So yeah, I think she's got a good gate because once you've got on her backside, oh my lord, these.
yeah.
I know you're a fan of the second one. I'm a fan of even just the first one. Like it's a 3 for 1, 4
3 for 1.
for 1. Oh my god, 3 for 1.
Scripture of Truth.
Targeted. Each opponent gets targeted removal. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But you did pay 5 for it. So she's
That's
not
right.
as cheap as Jin Gataxius's ability, which was only 4. And you only needed 7, so that felt a lot more accessible. Here to mill 8 and then 5, pay 5 means you probably spent your whole turn then, or something close to it.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much because you're in mono black, since you have access to the coffers
Oh
and
my
the Cabal
goodness.
stronghold. So it'll be a little bit easier, I suppose, to get to that threshold.
To do something after, yeah.
Yeah.
Follow it up.
Yeah, I wash my hands after every game with the coffers. I feel so dirty with all this mana.
All right. Well, that's it. 3 cards from each one of us. Hopefully you guys would also find some of these hype. I don't know. I'm still kind of torn on the set. It seems like a really complex set to me. I'm having a hard enough time keeping up with your guys' cards, and that's only 3 each. Like it keeps going. The text box keeps going, but
The text boxes keep going. I feel like that's what happened during this episode. I would get lost reading. Like the Quintaurus one knocked me out. Like, oh my god.
that was like the second card you discussed.
Like sinking in how good the card is.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's a lot of power though, especially for EDH. Might be slower indeed for other formats, but it's pretty powerful. A lot of these things. We didn't even get to like every card that we like. I know we had to like whittle it down to top 3.
Yeah. As well, I just wanted to point out that the card type we were not able to highlight were the transforming legends, the ones who got completed.
Oh yeah.
Because since none of us were able to sneak that in, but like, because those are cool story wise as well. That they got transformed into Phyrexian.
You're right.
Either willingly or not.
You're right. Yeah, actually, when that first one was spoiled with Heliod, I did a deck.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you guys will find it somewhere there.
Where is it? Where are you putting it?
I think it's up there. Yeah. Editor, aka me. You put that in.
Yeah, put it up there.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. These transform. Like, do you have anyone in particular that you're eyeing, Bob? Let's do a quick bonus round if there is. Because I was like, Heliod is one of them for sure for me. As well as Ayara is something that caught my eye. So if you guys don't know, Ayara is a 3 mana value, 3/3 elf noble. She taps, and you sack another creature or artifact, and you deal X to target opponent or battle, and you gain X life, where X is the mana value. So she kind of burns people based off of what you sacrifice. Good win con. But you can pay 6, which is 5 and a Phyrexian red. So 5 and 2 life. And she flips into Ayara the Furnace Queen. And the Furnace Queen, at the beginning of combat on your turn, aka, so you can get the value the same turn she comes down, assuming you had all this extra mana. Combat on your turn, you can essentially reanimate. Return up to 1 target artifact or creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Gains haste, and then you exile it at the end step.
Oh.
So you can even it doesn't even have that like if it goes anywhere, exile it. You can sacrifice it before end step, so you don't lose it. Pretty good. But again,
difficult. It's difficult as well to transform her on the same turn and be able to utilize the tap.
Yeah.
The one that caught my eye is Itali, Primal Conqueror.
Oh,
that's a wall of text as well. And his important thing is he transforms into the Primal Sickness. He becomes an 11/11 Trample Indestructible Phyrexian Elder Dinosaur. And then when it deals combat damage, they die because it's 11 poison counters.
I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole.
But wait, they get 11 poison immediately? Or wait, what? No. When it
deals combat damage to a player, they get that many poison counters. But he has trample and indestructible, and then he's 11/11.
You have to block with a 2-2 at the very least.
No one's gonna sit in a game with me with that heat in the command zone.
I mean, it is a 7 drop, first of all, because Italy's 5 red for a 7/7.
Right.
How
And
comfortable are you
it's
seeing a Blight Steel Colossus in the command zone?
it's 10 to cast to flip him over. So, but then in red green, that's kind of
It's
doable, I
way
guess,
doable.
with enough acceleration.
This is the best ramping combination.
Uh,
Yeah, that's a
and
killer in
then
the
it's a
command zone.
callback as well to old Italy, that when he enters, he can steal the top card,
Mm.
steal the top non-land card, I should say, from each player.
Wow. Blight Steel
So
on the
it
backside.
on a blight steal on a
Still on the
backside.
back. Wow.
Wow.
What a
But at
time to be
least
alive.
at least you can't. Oh no, you can pump him. Huh. Sorry, my bad. I thought it was like, well, it's like Toxic. You know how Toxic was a little more fixed in fact.
Yeah,
Oh.
it was a bit more fixed.
This one.
And we're back.
We were wrapping up, but then here we go.
Okay.
Although to be fair, those are only the few. They haven't revealed all of the transforming cards yet. There's only 3 so far. And I'm not sure as to how many color pairings they're gonna use that mechanic on.
Yeah. Woof. Color transforming Phyrexian guys, paired up non-Phyrexian guys, battles that flip, Praetors that flip, even commons and commons that flip. Woo! So a lot of complexity to this set. Don't bring your new players here. No, I'm kidding. They'll be like, which card is the right side? You know, what's happening? Anyway, but it looks fun. I'm definitely gonna give this a try. I don't know if I'll join Unlimited. I'm kind of like torn on this, but I'm definitely looking into the precons. Maybe something we can also discuss for another topic for another time. I've pre-ordered a couple. Hey,
Idea.
you have it? Yeah, I'm getting the Phyrexian one and the Esper
The one with Brimaz.
Yeah, Brimaz and the one with the Knights.
So if I would brew, I think I'm going Simone. But the Ixalan, the Strixhaven pair.
Is it?
Simone and Dina. Sultai. I've never built Sultai.
Sultai.
I have only Sultai Precon.
Right.
Yeah,
Got
it's
it.
still here. I haven't
All
shipped
right.
it over.
Well, we're way over time. But if you enjoyed this content or you had your own opinions on it, be sure to leave a comment for us. We'd love to hear some feedback. Hopefully, the quality of the audio is much better this time around, and also the quality of the visuals. Hopefully, we're recording in higher resolution. I messed that up, by the way, in our gameplay recording. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
But yeah, and
It was
also
a good game, is what it was.
yeah, if you haven't seen it, again, it's there right now. Be sure to click it and be sure to hit the like and hit the subscribe. It really helps the channel out. We're really enjoying doing these, so we'd want to be able to do more. And we're doing this right now. We're not monetized or anything, so we're doing this for the love of the game, right? We're just having fun. So don't be too harsh in your comments, because again, we're just doing this for fun. And we'll see you guys next time. Stay inspired, guys. Bye-bye.